Hello everyone, Kristina here. Welcome to another live stream here at my YouTube channel. Tonight I'm going to be doing a little bit, let me roll my chair in here. Tonight I'm going to be playing with my February release, just a few of the products, which if you saw Jennifer McGuire's live yesterday, she was starting to do exactly what I had planned to do today, so it's kind of funny. Here is my February release. I've grouped them into storage pockets by bundle or whatnot. And I thought I would use the Simple Flowers stamp set dies and stencil pack. I don't know if I'm going to use the dies today. I think it mostly will just be the stencils and the stamps. But we've got a bunch of different things to use. I'm also going to use the Big Type Greetings dies and the Simple Dots background stamp. So that is the plan for today. I do have all of my cards that I made for this release. So I thought I would just show you what the stencil can look like. It can look like this. Hold on, let me adjust my lighting. It's a little bright. There we go. Okay, that's a little more true to life. So I'm going to be doing some stenciling today, and I really loved the white pigment ink on top of the flowers. I think I'm going to do the polka dots in white pigment ink this time, just for something a little bit different. Okay, let's get going here. Put all these aside, and we're going to start with the stencils, because why not, right? And I'm going to do a 5x7 card today. This stencil set is great for 5x7 cards because it's actually a 6x9 stencil. So, and it's going to be on a colored card base. I thought it'd be fun to do something with color. That card that I showed you before, that was on, I think it was a pink lemonade piece of cardstock. This time I'm going to use Nectar. And I have my grip mat from Waffle Flower. Hello, Betsy. Hi, Donna, Amber, Rebecca, Jenny, Scrappy Cat, Leanne. Hello, hello, everyone. So happy to have you here. You know, I've started, because I hate having to peel this off the backer, I've started to just leave it on the backing sheet, and then I take like tape and tape the backing sheet to my work surface so it doesn't like slide around. Is that weird? That's what I've started doing. So now I can it's not going to move around much. But I do love using like grip mats like this with stencils because it really holds everything down. Okay, here's my lovely piece of Nectar Cardstock. I'm sticking that down. And then here are some tips on using this stencil set. Now, all the images, the flowers and the leaves and whatnot, they overlap each other. However, the centers of the flowers, you do need to take special note of where those are going. That is the only reason you need to make sure you line up these stencils right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get this kind of centered over my work surface here. Actually, hold on. I'm going to take note of a couple things. There is writing on the bottom of the stencil. See how it says Simple Flowers in this bottom corner? You want to make sure that that is facing up so you can read it correctly, and then have it at the bottom. And just take note of that when you use the other stencils as well. So I'm going to hold these down to the grip mat on those sides there. And then I'm going to take some Post-it tape. You can do like masking tape or Post-it tape. But I'm just going to put this tape up here in the top corner. And then I'm going to do a little bit of tape down here in the bottom corner. And that's just going to give me the two corners I need to line these stencils up every time. So it's going to go super easy. Oh, hello. Using my ink stand. Sorry, that was a stack of dishes I used for die cuts. Okay, I wanted to do kind of like tone on tone flowers. So I'm going to be using Grapefruit and Sorbet. I'm going to start with, actually it might, well, yeah, I'll do this set of flowers in Grapefruit and then I'll do the next one in Sorbet. Leanne, yes, this is the tip that I gave Jennifer yesterday. She actually had some little corners from Altenew. I was like, oh, I didn't even know Altenew had those. The corners from Altenew essentially do the same thing that what I just did, but without needing those little corner things. Okay, starting out with Grapefruit ink. Just getting some of that. And I'm going to just start ink blending in. I'm going to try to get the outer edge, like the outer, I'm trying to define the edges of the flowers. I don't want it to be too dark, but I do want to make sure I get all of those edges. I'm going to be doing the centers of the flowers in Stardust, which is kind of like a deep, dusty yellow. So it's kind of aptly named Stardust. It's kind of a golden color. It's this right here. So I want to make sure I don't have too much color in the centers of the flowers because then you might not be able to see the flower centers. This stencil set and the stamps and the dies are listed down below in the video description. And the video I posted yesterday walks you through all of the cards that I made for this release. I made a total of 15 cards. It was a lot. I think I mentioned to you guys last week that over the weekend that I'd made 15 cards in one day. Sure did. And those are the 15 cards that I made. So here we go. I'm going to get a little more around this edge. Scrappy Cat says, I got all my Valentine's mailed. Woohoo! Okay, the question is, how many did you make? How many did you send out? All right, I'm going to get this corner a little bit because this edge is kind of hanging off, but I do want it to have a little bit more color. Okay. Then I'm going to very carefully lift the stencil. It's very stuck to the mat. Lovely. Those are just nice and soft. That's exactly what I wanted. I'm going to grab my spray bottle that just has a little bit of rubbing alcohol in it. And I like to spray the stencil away from my work surface and then come in and I'm just like using a microfiber cloth to clean it. Sorry I'm off camera, but this stencil is really big. Okay. All right, so that's our first stencil. I'm going to do the next stencil. So once again, I'm going to check to make sure the etching is on the front. So it says Simple Flowers. And I'm just going to line that up right there and line it up in the bottom corner. Press that down and I'll change flower colors. So that's just to make sure that when I go to do the centers of the flowers that they line up better. All right, so here's Sorbet. I'm going to use the same blending brushes. These are similar colors. And Sorbet should come in and be a little bit deeper in color, at least I'm hoping. It really might not show that much. I might have to switch to a different blending brush. I think I will. I'm going to switch to one of these from Simon Says Stamp, which is a brand new brush, but I can get a little bit of a deeper color application. Like those Pinkfresh brushes that I was just using, they, I find that they're really good for like lots of color and dispersing the color to like a really soft area. And you can do that with these Simon Says Stamp brushes, but I find them, the Simon brushes to be a little bit easier to like concentrate the color. Like I'm really trying to get this lots darker just right around those edges. You could even move to a smaller brush if you want, but really I just want to get this color really concentrated. It has a smaller brush head, so it's a little bit easier to do that. And then as I come in and I start ink blending each one of these areas, if I want it a little bit darker, I just stay in that area and keep blending, and it kind of builds the color so that it starts to layer on top of itself. But I'm not adding a ton of ink to my brush. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, this flower is really big, so it's going to be easy to keep that color just at the edge. Just bringing this in a little bit at a time. Okay. So next I'm going to take the leaf layer and I'm going to add my leaves. I'm going to lift up this stencil first very carefully. Oh, there we go. Get our two-tone flowers. Cleaning off that stencil. Okay. And then onto the leaves. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm checking to make sure the etching that says Simple Flowers is on the front. I'm going to line up these corners. Okay, so I've picked out two different colors of green ink for this. I've got Avocado and Artichoke. I'm going to do the Artichoke on the leaves that are, you know, closest to the flower it's supposed to be on. And then, well, I guess it really doesn't matter which end you use it on, but okay, I'm going to start with Avocado. And I'm also going to switch to a smaller blending brush. This is one of the mini blending brushes from Altenew. And I'll just come in here. I'm going to start ink blending. And I basically want this Avocado to go over the entire leaf area. And then I'm going to come back with the Artichoke and add more concentration of color, a lot darker. I'm just really getting the basic shape of these leaves out. I kind of feel like you need to match the size of your stencil openings with the brush that you're using. So these are smaller openings than those flowers, so I switched to a smaller brush. Now you don't have to, you can always use the same size brush, but I find that it's just a little bit easier if you have the right size of brush. Okay, so I've just got like a really light layer of green everywhere. I think my Avocado needs to be re-inked as well. And I'm going to come in with Artichoke, which is a more intense green. They almost look the same in their ink pads like this, but Artichoke really is quite a bit darker. You can see it just applies darker. So I'm just going to really come in and kind of emphasize one end of each leaf. Just to give it a little bit of dynamic color. Okay. I can kind of make out the outline of a leaf flower right here. So I think the darker green would be to this end. Okay. I think it'd be on this end. And then right here. Okay. I think that will do it for the leaves. And hopefully those won't be too dark and kind of overwhelm the flowers. I'm hoping it won't. Sometimes it's hard to pick these up. Oh, that's cute. I like that. That turned out really cute. Okay, I'm gonna hit it with my alcohol, rubbing alcohol spray once again. Clean that off. Scrappy Cat's asking, how are the counter kitties? Well, they're doing great. Keeping us on our toes for sure. Yes, it comes together so quickly, Sika. Next up, we've got our flower centers, and you can see they line up perfectly because I did these two corners. So I'm going to use Stardust, smaller openings, so I'm going to stick with a small brush, another one of the Altenew mini blending brushes. I think coming in with like a brown center would be really pretty as well. But I'm going to do this yellow because I think adding in just one more color would be really nice since everything is so monochromatic at the moment. I'm making sure that I change directions of my blending counterclockwise and then clockwise. That's going to make sure I get every single crevice on the stencils. I think it'd be really pretty to come in with a gold ink here too. Like actual gold, not just this gold shade. Or even doing like letting it dry completely for a while and then using an embossing ink. That would be really pretty too. Oh, all the comments about the cats on the counters in my video on Instagram. Oh, they're so dang cute. They are just characters. Okay, I think I got all the centers that are showing. Oh, cute. I wasn't sure about this color combo, like ink blended on top of the nectar, but I am loving it now. I wasn't sure if it would work. Sometimes, you know, you put colors on top of colored cardstock and it just alters them too much, but dang, this is cute. Okay. All right. I was thinking I was going to do some polka dots on some of the flowers, but maybe I won't. No, I think I do. I think I do want to put polka dots on some of the flowers. Okay, so you can peel up those little corners, or you can keep them on your mat. I mean, it's the right dimensions for those 6x9 stencils. All right, and I'll peel this up. Rip off that grip mat. Oh, it turned out so cute. Okay, I'm gonna put my, oh, I need to clean this first. I always forget because I can't see the ink as well. So I'm just using a baby wipe. just to clean that up. All right, and then I'll just let it sit off to the side for a minute, and then I'll put the clear protective sheet on top. Okay, I now have my MISTI, and I'm going to do some stamping through the stencil. Okay, so I'm just going to use a little bit of this Post-it tape that I've got over here, this mint tape, and I'm going to be doing the lighter colored flowers, so I can tape it down on these corners where it's the darker flower. I'm going to put that down right there. And then I just need to find the correct stencil. Okay, I think they were like this. Is that right? Yes, it is. That is correct. So, is it this one? Would be like this. That is the one. That's the one. Okay. And I'll just use some more of that mint tape to hold the stencil in place. Just tape that right there. You could also use one of the grip mats in your MISTI that would hold it in place, which probably would work a little bit better. But here we are. Oh, Crossbow Queen says, American Shorthairs are my absolute favorite breed of cat. Oh, they're so great. I'm going to be using the Simple Dots background stamp. I was thinking I might do like just white pigment ink, but I don't think I will. All right, and this is too big for my dot stamp, so, okay. So one of these ends, okay, like this. Notice how this dot up here ends away from the corner, and this one is at the corner. If you want to repeat your dot stamp, you put it this way so that you can repeat it up there. So I'm going to put my dot stamp right here. It might pick up the stencil. That's okay. I could put the stencil back down. Or, I was going to say, or I could just ink it up through the stencil after it's already applied. Okay, let's tape this down again in the right spot. Okay, do I want to do white pigment ink, or do I want to just do more of the grapefruit? I'm kind of thinking I want to do just more of the grapefruit. Can also do that since we're not up to the top yet. Okay. Do I want to do grapefruit? I think I do. Okay, we'll just do it. And if we don't like it, then, well, we tried. Oh, it like hardly, I mean, it didn't do all the dots right here. Interesting. I guess I need to push it harder to get through the stencil. There we go. That's better. All right, I'm going to clean off my stamp so I can position it again. And then we'll continue with the dots. And this time the stamp is going to be hanging out the top. It's kind of unfortunate that it's going to be hanging out the top, but that's okay. In fact, I need to Bring it in a little bit closer, like this. Okay, it's picking up that stencil again, not a big deal. We can put it back down. Okay. The stamp is like picking up everything up above as well. Okay, so we just need to get this area right here. I could also rotate the, rotate it and have my stamp not sticking out, but that's okay. I don't think that's gonna line up. I'm glad I'm double checking this. What is happening? Okay, close enough. Let's make sure I press the door of my MISTI close enough that it can get all of the polka dots. Looks pretty good. All right, let's see how that turned out. That's pretty cute. Just with those polka dots. I think that's pretty cute. It almost looks like the flowers have chicken pox. Just a little bit, like not a lot, just a little bit. And this ink will actually fade back a little bit as it dries. So it'll actually fade a little bit and not be quite as stark, which will be nice. Okay. Oh, that's just cute and playful, right? Clean off this stamp here. Lovely. All right, and then here's a tip for when you're putting your background stamp back on the sheet that it is stored on. So I've got the two corners that are cut out up here. I've got these two corners. So I'm looking on this and I can tell that it's these two corners up here. So then I just come in and I line that up. There we go. And then you can peel it up like that and it's back on its sheet the way it's supposed to be. Okay. I don't know where my, oh, here's my storage pocket for that. Here we go. Okay. And I'm kind of thinking I might be able to get 2 cards out of this one 5x7 panel if I cut out the center and have it be a frame. I'm just trying to figure out if I really want to do that or not. I don't know that I do. All right. So I was then going to use the big type greetings for a greeting to go on this. I'm trying to decide. Maybe I do want to do it that way. And I think I will do a hug, so that's right here. But also in the Simple Flowers stamp set, we have a bunch of other greetings that I could use. We've got just saying hello, you were the best, so happy for you, this is a paper hug, thanks for being a friend. I could do the thank you and then not stamp the thanks and just, it would be thank you for being a friend, and I could continue it down below. That could be pretty cute. What is Sika saying? Oh, you wish your freckles looked this cute. That's cute. Okay. I'm just trying to figure out like size-wise what I want to do. I guess I could cut this in half and it could go onto A2 cards. I could do 2 A2 cards. That could be pretty cute. I'm not mad at that. Oh, I have an idea. Oh, okay, yeah, I have an idea now. Okay. We're not going to do the stamps, but I am going to do the dies. And I'm thinking maybe some gold for the actual sentiment itself. And then I'll put the shadow as white. That's what I'm kind of thinking might be really interesting. I'm going to grab the gold cardstock. Okay, and I'm also grabbing my artichoke and avocado cardstock because I'm thinking I'll add a little bit of that at the bottom, and I think that could be really cute. Okay, hold on. I've got too much stuff out here. I'm trying to like work through it all. Okay, so I've got all this gold. I've obviously die cut the thank you a couple of times. Got lots of scraps of gold. Oh, that's cute. I like the gold frame. Okay, that'll work. And I'm going to keep that gold frame out just in case I want to use it, because it's already cut for a 5x7 card, so I might as well. You guys are saying a vellum shadow? That would be interesting. Okay. I think I'll do the thank you. No, I think I'll do the miss you. Because my other card with this stencil, I use the thank you, so I think I want to do the miss you. All right, I'm putting my clean plate facing the gold so that it won't mess up the rest of my gold cardstock here. Oh, you know what I did? Sometimes I don't like how it leaves little polka dots on it right there. So I've noticed that the little dot thing is reduced if I take out my metal shim. So, and also if I cut toward the, if I take out this metal shim, so I'm taking out my metal shim, and then if I cut toward the cutting plate, that I don't get, it doesn't show as much on the metallic cardstock. So I'm going to run that through right now, and we can compare. Okay, it still cuts it beautifully, but look, there's like hardly any of those dots. I can see a little bit more right there, but there isn't anywhere else. It's so great. It keeps it very, very clean by just taking out some of the pressure. Okay. I'm going to put my regular cutting sandwich back together. I guess technically I probably don't need to use my metal shim all the time, but I do anyway because there's nothing that frustrates me more than when the die cutting doesn't work. And I would much rather deal with some of those little dots every once in a while than have die cuts not work all the time. And I've noticed when I have that metal shim that 95% of the time it works. Okay. So I'm going to take the shadow. I'm just going to cut that out of white. Run that through my die cutting machine. Oh no, Beth. Beth says first day of no sugar. Boy, am I grumpy. Oh dear. All right, got my little shadow there. Put this die back together. All right. I'm thinking for the card itself, let's just envision this for a moment. I'll put the gold on the white mat. It can go right there. Of course, I'll have the dot on the eye. No worries, it's right there. But I was thinking of kind of having just like a band of artichoke could really ground the card. So in my essentials dice, there's kind of this like little scallopy edge. And I'm thinking I might be able to extend that edge so that it would go like all the way across with a little bit of creative die cutting. So as you can see, basically I want like the little bumps towards the top of the card, and I want it to go all the way across like that. But this die is not big enough. So we're gonna do some extending of that. All right, so in my die cutting, I'm going to start it like this. I'm going to start it cutting like this. And when I put my plate on, I'm going to have it only right here. Only where there's the complete sandwich will it actually cut. So it's not going to cut this corner or this section right here. So I'm going to feed it into my die cutting machine like this. And then it's not going to cut that section. Okay. So now you can see how it only cut that little edge. So now I'm going to come over here, and it's not going to line up perfectly, but we're just going to pretend. We'll just bring it in like that. And it only needs to cut about to right there. So I'm going to run it through the other direction like this. If I could get it started. There we go. Hopefully that worked. Lovely. Oh, that worked out pretty good. See that edge there? Hello, focus. It doesn't want to focus. But I also have this edge that I could use also. But now I have this cute little edge that I can use on the bottom of the card. Okay. So I'm thinking I don't want this full, I don't want the full width there. So I'm going to take a pencil and I'm just going to mark how thick I actually want it to be. I'm thinking maybe like right there. Hello, pencil mark. There we go. And then I'm going to take it to my paper trimmer and just cut off that section. That's pretty straight. I'm just winging it. It's probably not completely straight, but that's okay. Yeah, it's not. It's a little bit more narrow on this one end than over here, which I find to be hilarious. And it kind of bugs me. Like, is it really? Well, I guess it's not that bad. Oh, and I just totally just bent it. That's okay. All right, and then I'm going to do the gold frame, and I'll put the gold word. And I'm thinking I also might want to do like another little gold strip there. So I want it to be the same width as the gold frame. So I'm going to use the same dies. You didn't see me use, I already had it cut, but I'm going to go ahead and just cut another one of these A7 thin frames dies so that I can have the same width right there. Actually, you know what? I think that's the same width as my gift bows dies. Is it? It totally is. No, no, the gift bow size is a little bit thinner. I'm going to take it back. But I only need like the one side, right? So as I put it through my die cutting machine, I'm just going to use this and it'll get that outer edge. Because I don't want to waste a whole thing of gold cardstock, you know? So I'll just cut this. We'll run that through. All right. I would have gotten the entire frame except I'd already cut thank you out of the bottom there. So I have like an incomplete frame, but I can use those, I can save those scraps for something else. And look at that, I've got like some nice gold strips. In fact, maybe, do I want a little bit of a thicker? Let's test this. All right. We're going to pretend that that's right there. Assemble that on right there. Or we could do a thicker gold, or even, I like that idea. What if I did both? That's kind of cute. I like that idea. That was just like an accidental thing that happened, but I kind of like it. I like the thicker line with the thinner line. That's kind of cool. All right, I'm trying to put that in the pocket. There we go. I like the addition of the thick line. So I think I'm going to do both. But I'm going to get it started to be assembled, and then we'll test it again just to be sure. Putting those dies back in their home. Andrea, doing both means you don't have to decide. My kind of situation. There you go. Okay. I'm going to come in and sit down. Okay. And the real question is doing some little stripes, is that going to emphasize how not straight it is? I don't know if it will or not. Okay. Going to cut off the side of the frame so I can just use a strip. Okay. So that's the width of the card. And then I can come and get the width of the card right here as well out of this strip. I think I want the thinner one up there and the thicker one at the bottom. So let's go ahead and just get a little glue on this. I'm noticing this didn't cut straight right here. It's probably the outer edge. Remember, this was just like a random scrap of gold that came about after I die cut it. Oh, Layla. Would you really like to see it? I'm just joking. Layla says, your workspace is always so uncluttered. I love that. I don't always see this, but it makes me happier. That's because you're only seeing a portion of it. Let's see some behind the scenes. there you go. It is a complete mess. The grid area itself, sure, yeah, it's great. But the actual, oh, only what you see looks uncluttered, put it that way. All right, I'm gonna put the glue right across here. Oh, this is a brand new bottle of glue. I forgot I opened one. I don't have to push as hard to get the glue to come out. Okay. I'm lifting this up. I might as well just do it straight from one end over here. Okay, I'm just kind of eyeballing this to make sure it's straight. I know it's probably not, but I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Okay, and then I'm just going to apply a thin line of glue, and then I'll put the strip on it. I think that will be easier than trying to put the glue on the strip and then putting it down onto the cardstock. All right, wiggle that up a little bit so that it matches. Oh, go back. It's not coming right over to the end here, but I'm not that concerned because I'm going to put that gold border on the actual card itself. Okay, now we need a card base. We're getting close here, y'all. Am I going to complete a whole card in under an hour? I think I might. Did Layla see the my work surface? Oh, nice mirage. That's lovely. Okay, so here's my 5x7 card base. I'm going to adhere my background down onto the card itself now. So I'm just going to use some tape runner adhesive. Oh my word, this tape runner is so sticky. I am never concerned about cardstock like coming up when I use this adhesive. Like seriously, I can't. It sticks to my fingertips so much. Okay. All right, there's our pattern. And then I'm going to put this, well, let's get this figured out, how far up it needs to go. Because then we're going to put this about right there, I think. And since I'm going to do the frame, I don't think I can have that border popped up because the frame's going to go over the top. I mean, I guess I could have this be popped up over the top as well. Just cut the card a little bit shorter. It's not a big deal. No, I'm going to have it glued down. We're good. But I am going to do it with glue instead of that tape runner because I want to give myself a little bit of time to wiggle it into place. So like, all right, I'm using my grid mat. I'm lining up the card with the grid. And then I'm going to put that right there, hanging off the end. Just, well, it doesn't, no, we're not hanging off the end because the frame is going to cover it. And then about like that. You could also use a T-square ruler, but I'm not going to worry about it. Look at that. That bump ends perfectly right there. That's so great. All right, I'm going to hold this down just for a minute. I'll hold it down until I can safely cut off this end without it moving. I think that's about right now. So I'll turn this over. I'm just going to lop off that end. Oh, I cut a little bit of that right there. That's okay. Okay, so now I'm going to be putting the gold frame on the outer edge just to finish it off. But this is a tip for if you're doing the thin frames. Apply the glue to your card, not to the frame, because the frame is going to kind of flop around and it's going to be hard to keep it only touching the edges, and you run the risk of putting that glue everywhere where it flops down and touches the card. So I just apply a really thin line of glue, or you could even just do dots, but I just do it all the way around the outer edge, and then that frame is going to go right over the top. So I just get that corner. See, it's like flopping around. So I'm trying to get that corner on there. Okay. You can use your fingertips to kind of nudge it into place. Okay, a little bit of that glue kind of sticking out a little bit, not a big deal. Okay, but that got the edge. Now we have that really pretty gold finished edge. All right, let's glue our lovely die cut down. I'm noticing with this new bottle of glue, because it is brand new, so it's not clogged at all, that the glue is coming out much faster than my previous bottle of glue, which I think I was using for nearly a year. That's how big this bottle of glue is. And if Jennifer was to hear me say that it took me a year to get through a bottle of glue, she'd be like, "What? That means you're not die cutting enough." That's what she would say. Okay. Getting this lined up just right. Oh, it's not centered. Oh, crap. It's not centered on the shadow. Come up. Peeling it up before the glue can dry. Okay, that's a little better. Not perfect, but a little better. Then I've got the tittle. That's what this little dot is called in typography. Typography, which is basically the design and study of fonts. All right. I believe Betsy's in the chat. Betsy is a graphic designer as well. She can attest to that definition. Okay. Then we can put that MISTI right there. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, I'm going to put this on some foam. Oh, by the way, I store my glue in one of these little glue stands from Honeybee. So it's their glue, and then I just always store it standing up like that with the lid on, and it keeps the glue at the end of the bottle. It makes it so it's really easy to use it all the way till the very last drop. Like seriously, I was down to the very last little bit of glue. And my stand is now in the middle of my mess over here, and it will not stand because it's got stuff underneath it. Okay, there we go. All right, foam tape. Got some foam tape right here. This is Altenew foam tape. Then I'm gonna cut off a little portion here so that I can add it a little bit more easily. little bit of that foam. There we go. And then I'm just going to cut a couple of little squares that I can put at the bottom of the Y and on the eye, just to give it a little bit of stability. I think this one's going to have to be cut down a little bit more. Yeah, perfect. Betsy says, she's the one I was saying is a designer. I've always loved typography and am so particular about it. So I love words created by other designers like Kristina and CZ who also get it. It is true. It is true. I am very picky about fonts and typography. Yeah. And I know Kathy Zilski, CZ, is as well. So we're big fans of good typography. Okay, let's see here. I want to put it like right here, but there's one of those weird little dots right there. And so I'm like, maybe I'll just slide it over just a little bit. Okay. That is cute. Okay, now I'm debating if I want to use the flower dies, and I could do just a couple of little tiny flowers. Okay, I'm convincing myself I need to do it. Hold on. Because look at these little flower dies. I could do a couple of flowers in the two colors in Grapefruit and Nectar, or maybe Grapefruit and Sorbet. And then, oh yeah, that's going to be way cute. I want to, yeah, Grapefruit and Sorbet. Oh, that would be adorable. Sorry, I'm not going to get my card done in an hour. I was thinking it might be a miracle if I did. Not that I need to. I'm like, wow, I almost got it in an hour, and that would have been amazing. Oh my word. Sorry, camera. Okay, let's just cut out a couple flowers, and we'll also need just a couple of leaves. Like I used those same flowers on this card. So I'm thinking like the two smaller flowers and a couple leaves could go right here next to the Miss You. I think that could be really cute. All right, so let's get out some artichoke and also some avocado. And we can get all this die cutting done. I'll zoom out here. Alrighty. I'm thinking just two flowers. Yeah, because I think they could nestle in just right there, and then little leaf. Yeah, I think that could be really cute. Okay. And then just one of the little leaves. And then I'll just have to run it through and use that same leaf dye on the avocado piece, or on the artichoke. Okay, come out. There we go. Oh, that's cute. Do we like it, or is it just too much? Is it getting lost? It might be getting lost because of that background. Like, is it just pulling away from the background? Is it making it? Yeah, I think it might be a little too much. But hear me out. What if I glued it on the white and then fussy cut it? So that it stands out a little bit more. No, I think it kind of gets lost. It's cute, but I think it kind of gets lost. All right, we'll just call it a day. Card is done. But I am going to save, you know, the leaf and the little flowers because I think they're really cute. So I'll save those for another card. I think I'm going to leave it as is. Sometimes, you know, you just got to like cut the stuff, see if it's going to work. You got to test it. You know what I'm saying? To like really decide, yeah, I am done. Okay, I'm just grabbing these stencils so I can put them back in their storage pocket. You know what? I think like Nectar and Grapefruit and Sorbet, of all the like trios of inks and cardstocks that are out there, I think it might be my favorite because it just looks so good. Okay. I'm going to put these cardstocks back in the little sleeves where I store them. These little scraps. And then we'll wrap things up. A little nectar back in there. And then we have some artichoke. Ooh, and I also have this other little piece here, this little artichoke edge with the little scallops. So I'll save that for another card. Okay. All right. Oh, one little die. One little die didn't make it back. That's okay. Now he's in his home. All right, let's move all this out of the way. Here's our card. Oh, I guess you could use the flowers on the inside of the card. That's not a bad idea. Just do a couple little flowers on the inside of the card, like in the corner or something. That's cute. That's a cute little idea. In fact, maybe I'll do that and then stamp one of the greetings from the stamp set. That's a great idea. Thanks, Pam. Okay. So here is my MISTI. I think I'll have these maybe like right there. Oh, that was lovely. All right, I think I'll do the, this is a paper hug. And I think I'll have it be just down in the corner because then I can write a message up here to the recipient. So I'll take my little die cuts out. In fact, I might need to do it like this so the edge of my card can stick out. All right, and then put that about right there. I will use my favorite black ink, or maybe I'll just do it in like a sorbet. I think sorbet would be really pretty too. Okay, I'll do it in sorbet. All right. Oh, and this card is moving all around. Do I dare? I can't fold it back on itself, but I do want to keep it like right there. Is that going to be straight? Yeah, that's fine. And if it's not straight, that's fine. Oh my word, I just realized I have a hinge of my MISTI that is like coming out. Remember how I was afraid that my MISTI was going to be like broken, and so I bought a second one? which I have yet to even use once. It's like I was foretelling this. Oh, that's cute. I just realized that that hinge was coming out. I have never even noticed it. Isn't that funny? How like you can be sitting there and it's seriously, when I'm stamping, focus camera, it's right here. It's like whatever is nearest me. I mean, I wonder if I could just push it back in. Ooh, I'm afraid I'd just break it more. All right, well, I will continue using it until it decides to actually die. Yes, at least this isn't the second MISTI. Very true. Okay. So then I can, oh, that's going to be really cute. And I'll just put the little flower right there. I like that. That's cute. I never do the inside of cards, mostly because I always, you know, I just leave that for the recipient's message. Using new tweezers, isn't that so lovely? It just makes you happy. It makes me happy because my old tweezers, I mean, I still have them, but the point on them was getting all gummed up with things. And so it like wasn't sharp anymore. And then here, okay, here's my other thing. I was trying to use the Pinkfresh and the tip isn't as sharp. Do you guys, can you see that? It's not as sharp. This is the Simus stamp, as well as the EK Success. Both of those are like super, super sharp. See, it's got like stuff gummed up on the end. They're super sharp. So yeah, and then the Altenew, those are even sharper, but they're not, it's not the reverse tweezers. I like the reverse tweezers. Anyway, I've had these probably for like 2 years, and I finally broke them out because I was getting sick of the gummed up tip on my EK Success ones. That set of tweezers, I think I've been using for going on like 8-9 years, and finally decided I would replace it. And, or well, not even replace it, but just start using the ones I already had. And these are great. These are the Simus stamp ones. They're great. Okay, here we are. So here's the finished card. I think that turned out really cute. I mean, it's not completely straight, stamped straight, but that's okay. I love how that turned out. That is so dang cute. All right, I'm going to do a quick little spiel for those watching the edited replay tomorrow. And then I'll be in the, and you know, just answer questions in the chat. So if you have a question, now is the time to put it in. And, you know, if you could do the word question all in caps so I am, you know, bound to see it, that would be great. So here we go. So here is the finished card. I love how that turned out. I like the additional inside that the leaf is not glued down. How did I miss that? Y'all, I got too excited talking about tweezers. Okay, I'm like, how did the leaf move? It moved, Kristina, because it's not adhered. Okay. All right, let's try this again. All right, here we go. So here's the finished card. I love how this turned out, and I like the addition of the inside that Pam in the chat suggested. I think that turned out really, really cute. So even though I didn't use those pieces on the front of the card, I was able to use them on the inside. So once again, this is the Simple Flowers bundle, and I used the Simple Dots background plus the Big Type Greetings dies. So those are all the items I used from my February 2025 release. All of the links to these products over at the C9 shop are listed down below in the video description. If you'd like to take a look at those, do a little shopping, I'd greatly appreciate it. And I hope you guys have fun. And that, if, you know, I've heard from a bunch of you that you ordered products from this release. I can't wait to see what you create with it. I can't wait for you to get it in your hot little crafty hands and get to creating. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Okay, here we are. question, what is the difference between, okay, hold on, I'm scroll up so I can grab this one. What is the difference between hot press and cold press watercolor paper? What is best? Both are great. I tend to use cold press paper more than hot. The biggest difference is the texture. Let me see if I can show you, because I have some cold press and some hot press paper right here. Okay, I'm going to zoom in really close. This is cold press. Okay, do you see the texture? There's that texture. Do you see that? Oh my word, my fingernail polish just put color on it. That's crazy. There's that texture. Now let's look at hot press, if it's ever going to focus. Hot press is very smooth. Notice how there's like hardly any texture at all. It's great. Okay, sorry, my camera does not like that. The biggest difference is the texture. Another big difference is that because hot press watercolor paper, like look at this, it's 300, what is it, GSM, and then over here it's 300 GSM. So technically it has the same amount of fibers, it's the same weight, but this feels thinner. And it's just because it's compressed and pressed so much harder than the cold press. It's referring to how the paper is milled and how it's made. It has like high pressure, almost like a big, huge die cutting machine that comes down and presses the paper so that it's either smooth or has texture. And when it's a hot press, it compresses more compactly. So that's like visually and the feel of the paper, that's the difference between the two. Now, when I choose what type of paper I'm going to be painting on, a lot of it has to do, well, two different things. The look. If I want there to be texture on my watercolor painting, I'm going to go for cold press. If I want it to be very smooth, I'm going to go for the hot press. Also, sometimes like the style of painting you're doing will help determine what paper you're using. So if I'm going to be doing some no-line watercoloring and having really sharp edges to all of my shapes that I'm painting and kind of creating my own line of that stamped image, I might want to do the hot press because it's less likely that I'll have a ragged edge just because of the texture of the paper. But if I'm doing something like I'm doing a nice, really soft, flowing background, I might want the more kind of lush, rough look of the texture on the cold press watercolor paper. So it's really, I mean, I guess it comes down to personal preference a little bit. I think if you're wondering between the two, most people start with cold press and they don't venture from cold press because it's lovely. It has that traditional watercolor texture and look, but hot press has its own place and it's lovely. I will say that I use cold press watercolor paper 5 out of 6 times. And that 6th time I might use the hot press. Or maybe it's probably more like 9 out of 10 times I'm using cold press. This hot press watercolor paper pad is the only one I've ever bought over like 10 years of painting cards. However, this 5x7 pad, I replace it over and over and over again. This is probably like my 6th or 7th pad like this. So it really just, depends. I like having the option. Like if I'm working on different projects, I like having the option. So I do like to have hot press hanging around. That was a really long-winded answer to your question. Sorry. Let me scroll up and see if I got another one. Do you know when your word stamps and dies might be back in stock? From this release? Are they out of stock? I have no clue. I hadn't heard that they were out of stock. Let me check. I thought everything was still in stock right now, but I could totally be wrong. Let me see here. Yeah, it looks like the Big Type Greetings is currently in stock at Concord at 9th. I think everything's in stock right now from this latest release, but you might be asking about a different release. Let me know, Lindsay, if it's from a different release. I do know that, you know, if it's out of stock now, they do have it reordered. Okay, let's see here. Scrolling down. Question, in your essentials set, a few quick ideas for the large curved die. I love to use the large curved die on like the edge of a card. I'll just, or like the edge of a card panel. Like I might like use that curved edge and then put another piece of cardstock behind it that's a different color. So you just have that like slice of that other color over there on the side. Yeah, I used to do that curved edge a lot on cards. I would do it on the bottom of a card quite a bit. But it's that like really long, perfectly curved edge that's really hard to achieve just by like using a pencil and some scissors. So I wanted a die that would do that. But that's a really good suggestion. I'll make a note of that to do a card in the future that uses that die. That's a really good question. How have you been enjoying having your own line of products, and how has it been for you? It's been interesting. I've loved it, but it's like I feel like the way I'm crafting now is a little bit different. And I'm also looking at designing product a little bit differently because, like more specifically, with every release, I create all the samples like that. You know, this big stack of cards that I showed at the beginning. These are all 15 cards that I made for this release. And I need to be able to use all the products within the release itself to create every single card. And I can't like bring in other products from other companies. So it's really making me think like, okay, if I'm only using my own products, how am I doing things? Like, here's just a sneak peek. When I was designing this card, I'm like, I really want some dash lines and kind of going across here. So I just drew them with the pen. I like sketched it on with a pencil and then went over the pencil line with a really thin pen. And I realized that, you know, doing dash lines like this or like white dash lines on a card or different things like that, those are like those finishing touches that I put on cards all the time that I've heard in comments and from other people saying like, I wish I could do it that evenly. I can't add that, like whatever. So just so you know, there's something in the works to make it so you can add these, add dash lines and different things to your card. Specifically, it's not coming out for a couple months because I just barely designed it like last week, but it's a bundle called Kristina's Finishing Touches, and it's coming. You're just not going to see it till April, but it's going to include all these little things that I like to include on my cards. All of my finishing touches. Like that's why I named it that. So that's coming up in the next couple of months. So I hope you guys are excited about that because I certainly am. I just found myself like using them and doing all these things. And I'm like, you know, I really should just make it into it like some stamps or stencils or dies or something to make it so it's easier to add all of those little things onto your cards. So anyway, so that's been really interesting. Like previously when I designed for Simon Says Stamp, because Simon has such a vast supply of different types of imagery and supplies like in their shop, I didn't have to think about that so much. I didn't have to think about like filling in those gaps in my own personal crafting because I could pull from other brands and other companies or even from other designers' products within the Simon Says Stamp line. And when I'm doing my own line, I've just been thinking about things a little bit differently. And it's been an interesting exercise as a designer, like a product. So thank you. That was a very insightful question. Which storage sleeves and magnetic sheets do you use for your stamp and die storage? It's kind of a mix. For the bundles, I'm currently using these really large pockets from Simon Says Stamp because they can accommodate the 6x9 stencils. So I've been using these. And the magnetic sheets, they're ones that I just bought on Amazon, and I'm really not happy with them. They're not very strong. So I don't even know if I'm going to link them and share them with you. I used to get a different brand, and they've stopped selling them. And they were perfect. They were still thin, but they were super, super strong, like holding the dies to the magnetic sheet. And now I don't know where I'm going to get them. And unfortunately, they don't sell just like, you know, one sheet to test it out. You have to get like the full pack of 25 and, you know, spend like lots of dollars on it. So I don't entirely know. For slightly smaller, like for, like this is an actual 6x8 pocket, but it doesn't fit every 6x8 stamp set because it is exactly 6x8. But I do use it for larger die sets because this plastic is really, really thick. This is one of the storage pockets. I don't think they call them a storage pocket. They're something else. But they're from Brutus Monroe. And they're really fantastic. I love how thick this plastic is. So it's great for larger die sets. It's very substantial. Like, I don't know if you can see the edge on this, but it's much thicker. And there's no flap at the top. It just opens. So in a dream world, I would make my own storage pocket with the Brutus Monroe plastic. I'm just, you know, calling out to Christopher over at Brutus Monroe. Let's make storage pockets together. Let's make storage pockets because they would be amazing. I love it. Okay. Scrolling on. Let's see. Oh, there was another question from Jen. This was along the same lines. Cheryl says, would you consider adding a Boss's Day and Pastor Appreciation sentiment to your line? I get requests for these cards. I have no sentiment for them. That's interesting. And that's very specific. I don't know that I would do something that's that specific, but like maybe like some really good thank you greetings, you know, along those same lines that could be used for multiples, like multiple occasions. Like, I'm assuming you're thinking like for greetings inside the card, or are you thinking for the outside? I don't know. So like appreciation, greetings and sentiments. That's a great suggestion. Thank you. I don't think they're going to be that specific, like talking about a boss specifically or talking about a pastor specifically, but maybe some like more interesting phrases other than just thank you. You know, something that says that's more than that. That would be really interesting, I think. Thank you. Let's see, scrolling down. Oh, a follow-up question from Amanda. Does the water flow better on cold press? Yes. Cold press, because it's much thicker, it can handle more water. I can't believe I didn't even mention this. This is another big difference between the two. Cold press paper, because it is just more lush and more, I don't know, you can almost think of it like a 100 thread count sheet versus like an 800 thread count sheet. The 800 thread count sheet is going to like absorb water and kind of hold a ton in it, but a thinner sheet won't. Does that make sense? It's kind of the same idea with like papers. So on cold press, it can handle a whole lot more water. I don't know that it would like, does it flow better? I don't know that it, I would say maybe yes, because it can handle more water, it stays wet longer. Yeah, I would say that that's true. Okay. Oh, the checking in bundle. That is a very good question. I didn't know it was out of stock. But if it is, I mean, I will be completely, I'm searching for it and I'm not even finding it. I'll be completely honest. I don't follow along with what is in stock and what is not. That's one of the reasons why I partnered with Concord 9th, because I didn't want to have to, like, as a designer, I didn't want to have to think about all of that, the logistics of things. So, let me see here. Checking in bundle. Oh my word, I searched for it and it doesn't even come up. Hold on. Kristina Werner checking in bundle. Well, crap, it's not even coming up. I think I'm going to have to let him know. But maybe it's not coming up because it is currently out of stock. That could totally be what it is. Let's see here. I'm still looking and I'm not finding it. Well, crap, y'all. I will let them know that it is not popping up when you search in the shop. Okay, here we go. I found it. Checking in dies are sold out. Checking in stamp sets sold out. Well, crap, y'all. I'm sorry. I had no clue. I would assume they have it on order, and it should be. I mean, I will ask them specifically, and then if it's not in stock before next Monday, I will let you know on Monday in next week's live, or I'll just find out and I'll let you guys know on Instagram. I did not know this, Andrea. Andrea says hot press can cost more than cold press. That's interesting. I don't know that I've ever noticed that. I mean, like I said, I don't buy hot press all that often. It's been a long time since I did, so I have no clue. Let's see here. Oh, Pam has a good tip. Sometimes you can find it at Simon if C9 is out, or vice versa. Very true. Kelly says, I received some Yuli paints for Christmas. I painted with them next to or over alcohol marker and or plain watercolors. I've also painted some thick applications. How do you seal it? You can get like it's a matte sealer spray. I want to say it's from Krylon. I've done that in the past. It does take away the tiniest bit of the sparkle. It just takes a tiny bit away, but like no one's even gonna know. Like you're gonna be the only one that knows that it's not quite as sparkly as it once was. Yeah, there's that. You can also seal it with some distressed microglaze, but that takes off even more sparkle, so I would not suggest that. Some people use hairspray, like back in the day. Yeah. That's a really good question, though, Kelly. I'm going to make a note to ask Jeannie at Yuli about sealing her paints, because she might have an even better suggestion. So that's, yeah, I think that's a really good question. Let's see. Seeing some people that repeated the questions that we got to them, so that's good. You're loving the finishing touches idea. I'm so glad. Oh, hopefully you do all tree stamps, dies, and stencils, because sometimes one works better than the other. Tree? Oh, maybe you mean three. Hopefully you do all three stamps, dies, and stencils, because sometimes one works better than the other. I only have stamps and stencils for finishing touches. I mean, I guess there could be some dies that just do the stitches, but I don't think it really stands out that much. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Let's see. Let's see. Holly says, I got some from Amazon and realized I was attaching the dies to the wrong side. Well, I knew that the magnetic paper that I got, it has like a sticky backing on it. So I've only been sticking them to the one side. Now you've got me curious. Like, did I? Because like, I swear this is like sticky. Yeah, it's sticky. But would it stick better to the other side? Oh no, it's worse. Yeah, I think I'm using them correctly. They're just not super strong. Like, look at this. It's like peeling up. It's annoying. And I have so much of it that I'm just going to go with it. You know, because, I mean, you had to buy like a pack of 25 in order to purchase them. I wish there was a good store around here I could go in and just like test them out, right? Jenny K's magnetic boards are great. But isn't it like a heavy board? Like, I don't know that you'd want to like store your stamps on them. Lowe's carries them. Interesting. Magnetic vent covers. Oh, I'll have to try that. Let's see here. Megan's asking, what charities do you donate your cards to? Currently, I'm giving them to, well, I'm giving them to people I know personally that send the cards. Does that make sense? I don't want to I'm protecting their privacy, put it that way. I don't want to say too much about who they are, but they are really using all the cards. They're like looking through them and enjoying them, and they think you all are amazing, and they're using them. I'm putting it, yeah. So that's where they're going. But I do know that there's some other really great charities out there. I know that scrapbook.com does one. Is it Cards of Kindness? Is that what it's called? They do card drives for that. There's a few different organizations out there that will take card donations. Oh, Sika, could you please let Frevin, that's Fred and Kevin, know how much the cat ladies of Instagram love them? I don't even, I know that they do. I haven't even read through all the comments today, but I know I have a lot. Like I noticed I had like 154 comments and I haven't looked through them yet because I saw it right before I was going live. Yes. Let's see here. Oh, that's a good suggestion, Pam. Pam says, I donate cards to my local hospice. They always need cheerful cards and birthday cards for patients. That's great. That's the perfect kind of idea. Something with wise counsel could have a broad audience. That is a great phrase. Wise counsel. Thank you. That's a really good. I should just like do market research on my live streams. Like, hey, you guys want Amy says, if you run that sentiment die through your die cut machine without the die, would the dots be pressed flat? Yes. I want to say Jennifer suggested that in her live yesterday, that you put it between you fold over some paper and put it in between the paper, then put it through your die cutting machine and it flattens them out. Let's see here. Okay. Which is better paper for better press, hot or cold press? Either. I think if you really want that really plush, indented look of letterpress, you might want to go with watercolor paper. Watercolor paper is most similar to the very thick cotton paper that people use for actual letterpress. So I would say watercolor paper probably most resembles that, and that might be what you want to use for your better press machine. Let's see here. Ellen Hudson released stamp envelopes and magnet sheets on Amazon. That's great. I bought those magnetic sheets from Amazon as well, and I find that if you stick it to cardstock or chipboard, it will help the magnet stick better. Good tips. Let's see. Grab the 3M magnetic tape. It's super strong and works great to hold dies in place. 2 to 3 strips of it will fit nicely in a pouch to store dies. That's a great idea. 3M magnetic tape. Because, you know, what I would love to do is my dies, they come on the packaging and the die lines are printed on it so you can keep them in the right positioning. I would love a solution to where, well, I guess I could just, well, I'm just trying to think of, okay, so let me show you an actual die that's still in its packaging. Here we go. So here's one that's in its packaging, right? And I would love to be able to store all the dies in that same formation, but I don't want to have to deal with the tape, with the sticky tape of the packaging itself, right? Hold on, I'm trying to get this open. Here we go. For this exact reason, it sticks to everything. It's great for getting the dies to you, but it's not so great for storage in your craft room. Okay, so each one of these It has the printed outline on it, right? I don't think the C9 dies are like this, just my line. And because I requested it, I was like, I really want the die lines on there. So I would love to have magnetic sheets that I could put this on, and it would be strong enough that I could put this printed sheet in it. Huh. These are some things I've got to figure out. I'm going to figure out how to do that. All right, but the 3M magnetic tape is a great idea. Okay. Oh, Daphne says, the Gina K magnetic boards are pretty thin. Best part is you can buy just one pack of 5 pieces to test. It's the same magnetic sheet that comes with her card kits. Oh, good to know. Oh, yep, Pam. Frevin is Fred and Kevin. That's their celebrity couple name. Let's see. Yes, Cards for Cups. That's another one. Yes. Let's see here. Da, da, da. Let's see here. Do you ever scream Kevin like in Home Alone? No. The only time I say or like yell their names is when we're trying to get their attention, so they'll go from like upstairs to downstairs or the other way around. For the most part, I just go, oh, Kevin. Or oh, Fred. But really, they're still in that cute stage, so most everything just seems cute. Let's see here. Oh, it may have been Jennifer McGuire who used a black Sharpie to outline her dies on the magnetic sheets. It's not a bad idea. Like, I wish the magnetic sheets were something other than black, and then I would use a black marker. You know what I'm saying? Because the minute you put like paper on the magnetic sheet, unless it's super, super thin, it is going to prevent it from being strong enough to hold the dies. Amazon sells magnetic sheets with an adhesive backing. You can hear those C9 sheets over them. Yeah, that's what I have. But the C9 packaging is too thick, and it makes it so that it doesn't, like the magnets don't stick to it. Like, let me see if I can just, actually, I was putting things in pockets. Let's see. Yes, here's that, right? So let's adhere that to some magnetic sheet here, and then we'll test it. Like maybe I'm being all concerned and I don't need to be. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna, let's see. Yeah, that whole thing would be right. The thing is, it has all the tape on it, you know, which is annoying. I mean, I guess I could try to remove it with adhesive remover, but okay. So here's my magnetic sheet, and it's got this sticky side on the back. So let's just, looks like the bottom of it's going to hang off, but that's okay. Oh, we want the other direction. We want this side. I'm glad I stopped myself. I'm wondering if it's going to be enough. I'll put this through my paper trimmer. And it's like sticking to my paper trimmer. At least I know it's not going to slide around. Okay. Now let's see if this is strong enough to hold the dies. I'm going to get that exact die set, because if it works, I'm going to love it. No, it's like the cardstock's too thick. it would just be holding on because of the tape that's there, you know? Like it doesn't stick at all. That's annoying. They do seem to stick better with the cardstock stuck to the back though. I think that tip from earlier is kind of true. I think it's because it gives it some stability. Huh. That's not a bad idea. So I think if I was to do this again, I would stick it to the back, but I would do it this other direction because then I have the example of all of the dies on the back of the packaging. So, and look at that. Comes out the bottom. And then I would just transfer all of these over here. Because I think having that stability of the cardboard backer does kind of help it. I don't think it's really necessarily technically any stronger, but because it's not so flimsy, it seems stronger because it's not bending. Does that make sense? And I kind of like the idea of this sticking out at the bottom. That's kind of fun. So I think, you know, and then you're also using the packaging and you're not wasting it. That's kind of nice. So it's like this, and then you have that on the back. That's kind of cool. Huh. Interesting. I don't mind this at all. That's kind of nice. Huh. I like that. And then I can put, and I like that you know, especially for videos, if I want to show how it can be used, or if it's like a die set that maybe it doesn't have stamps with it, so you're not sure what it looks like, you could have this on the back. That's kind of nice. And it makes it more sturdy and it's holding up better. Okay, I'm a fan of that. That's a good change. I'm going to do that to my other, well, the ones that I still have the packaging for. I'm going to do that to it. I'm like, you know, like I said, I just barely did these. So I've got these two that I can do from this last release too. So I'll have to do that. Anyway, I've been jabbering on for like 35 minutes. When did I finish the actual card? Wasn't it like 45 minutes ago? Or pretty close to 45 minutes ago. Paint marker around dies would show where they should be. That is true. I could do like a paint marker, but I think the dies would eventually scratch off the paint. So I'm not going to worry about it. I mean, for the most part, like once they're on here and I know that they're in the right spot, it's not that big of a deal, but it was just kind of nice to think about them being like in the right orientation. Let's see. What is the, well, you know, I will grab a link for you. I'll grab a link for you right now because now that I know that I can actually get them to work better, now I will share them. Hold on, I've got to go over and look at my Amazon orders. Magnetic. So I can get the exact thing for you. Okay, so it was 45 sheets. Oh my word, y'all. But you can get smaller cuts, which is interesting. Huh. Anyway, let's see here. Let me grab a link and I'll put it in the chat. Okay. There's a link to the magnetic sheets. There you go. Copy on a thinner sheet of paper. Yeah, I probably could. But it'd have to be like really thin, You know what I'm saying? I like this kind of solution that I came up with because then I could still show the back, which is kind of nice. Do I have a photo of Freven for those of us not on IG? Well, I will show you the picture that I shared on Instagram. And it would be, let me see, it's from earlier today. Where are you? Let's see here. I also have video of them like wrestling on the counter, which was kind of cute. Okay, so this is Fred and Kevin. Fred is the fluffy one. Kevin is the non-fluffy one. And they're pretty cute. But the picture that like I was sharing this morning was Fred on the corner of the counter. I came around the corner this morning and he was like sitting on the counter and I could not even, you guys haven't seen the live version. I'll show you the live version. So here's Fred. He was on the corner of the counter. He's like smiling at me like, hey, I made it up here. Okay, you ready for the live version? Cracks me up. He like yawned. He's so bored he's yawning. Cracks me up. And then let's see, where is it? Oh, hold on, I gotta adjust this one because it needs to be brighter so you can actually see them. But here's where they were up on the counter and then they decided to start wrestling. So there's more Kevin and Fred for you. Because they're brothers, they started wrestling. And then just for Sika, because she loves Fred, I got Fred this little pickle and he was like going to town. He was going crazy on it. So Fred was, I mean, going crazy. And Sika's going to be here. Oh my gosh, is it next week? I think it's next week. So Sika's just going to, I mean, Fred's going to get spoiled. Sika's probably just going to be cuddling him for like 3 days straight. But he was, seriously, this is all one video. He's just going to town. He loves this thing. Love it. Okay. Oh, and Kevin has a favorite toy that he has like torn apart. So I had to buy a new one for him. So this was him earlier after I gave him the toy. I got this toy for Kevin. It was a replacement. And then I got the pickle for both of them really, but it's kind of Fred's toy now. But like, he's like, okay, I'm done. He just carts that thing around everywhere. But he has played with it so much to the point that all the feathers came off and it was just strings hanging out. And so he was tearing the strings apart and I'm like, he's going to swallow that. And that's like dangerous. So I had to take it away and I cut off the strings. And then as I was cutting off the strings, I realized that there was a whole portion of the little, it's like a little blue cloud. There was a whole portion that was like torn apart and the stuffing was coming out. I'm like, oh no, he loves this toy so much. So I found it. I think it was a toy that I might have gotten for Sophie and Daphne like years ago, but Chewy.com still sells it. So I went and bought 2 backups. I bought, well, 2 more, 1 and then a backup. There we go. Gina says Kevin is my spirit animal. Love it. All right, well, I'm going to go say hello to the kitties right now. I'm going to close up this live stream. But thank you all for joining me tonight. I just realized I have a little gold frame I need to put in my gold cardstock pack. So I have it for later. Thank you for all the suggestions and for product requests. That's great. Good to know. And thank you all for joining me tonight and for making a card with me. I will see you all very soon. I'm hoping I will have a chance. I started editing a video of Valentine's Day cards that I shared with my January release. I started editing it and I didn't finish it. So I think I'm going to finish editing it and then maybe I'll share that, you know, on Thursday or, you know, Friday going on for Valentine's Day. Thanks for joining me tonight. I will see you all in another video very soon.